Y'all, we are doing the camera challenge. So if you have your camera on for the whole class, you'll be added to that contest. Right now, Skylar and Hunter, I think, are the only ones. Let me scroll over. Yes. So if your cameras remain on, there's Zach. I'll add you to that list, okay? So number 1 for your Unit 3 test study guide says, on a piece of paper, draw a triangle so that one of the angle measures 80 degrees and the other measures 40 degrees. Measure the third angle and the side lengths. Select 2 true statements below. So you're going to be, for number 1, selecting 2 different answers. So before we start this, you need to ask yourself, what do I know about triangles? So y'all tell me in the chat box, what do all 3 angles of a triangle add up to be? Does anybody remember? Very good, Skylar. They all add up to 180. Good, Ella. So on your paper, we're going to use the 2 angles that we already have, 80 plus 40. And y'all tell me what you get. What is 80 plus 40? Very good, 120. Now, that's only 2 of our angles, right? If 2 of them equal 120, we can find the third angle by subtracting that from 180, right? Because they have to equal that. So y'all tell me, what is the measure of our last angle? Good. Yes, 60 degrees. So there's one of our answers already, right? Look at the first answer. The measure of the third angle is 40 degrees. We're going to mark that out. We know that's not true. The measure of the third angle is 60 degrees. Yes. So that's the first one you're going to write on your paper for number 1. Write down the measure of the third angle is 60 degrees. So there's your first answer. The third one says all side lengths are different. That is also true because all of our angle measures are different. Okay. So those 2 are your correct answers for number 1. So in your paper, write number 1. The measure of the third angle is 60 degrees. And also, all the side lengths are different. So again, for number 1, you're going to be selecting 2 different answers. I'll give y'all just a minute to write that down, and we're going to move on to number 2. Hunter, did you get number 1? Hunter, can you hear me? I think you're frozen. All right, y'all give me a green check when you are finished with number 1. Again, if you don't get to write down everything, the recording will be available after class, so you can come back and watch that, okay? All right, here we go. Number 2. Go ahead and write down number 2. Number 2 says, how many triangles can be constructed with 2 angles that are measuring 80 degrees and 100 degrees? Well, we already know, right, that if we have a triangle, all 3 angles have to measure 180 degrees. But these 2 angles already measure how much? Those are already measuring 180 degrees. So by that alone, we should know we cannot make any triangles if they have angles, 2 angles that measure 180 degrees, because a triangle has to have 3 angles that measure 180 degrees. And those 2 angles have already taken up all of those degrees. So we cannot make any. So you're going to write 0 would be your answer for number 2. We cannot make any triangles. For number 2, you have the option to choose 0, 1, or more than 1. And you're going to select 0. Okay, about 10 seconds to write that. That's number 2. All right, let's move on to number 3. Go ahead and write number 3 on your paper. Number 3 says a circle has a radius of 4.53 degrees. So let's go ahead on your paper, just draw a quick circle. Doesn't have to be perfect. Put a dot right in the middle of your circle, and then draw a line from your dot to the side of your circle. And that's our radius. So we're going to put 4.53 right in there because that's our radius. It says, what is the circumference of this circle? So we know that circumference, that formula is 2 pi r. So 2 pi r, and that r stands for our radius. So let's plug in our numbers. 2 times pi, which is 3.14. Everything that I'm writing in red, you need to write on your paper. Times r, which is our radius, which is 4.53. And when we multiply these two numbers, because they're in parentheses, that gives us 14.2242. And let's put that in parentheses because now we need to bring this 2 down and multiply that number by 2. Okay, that would give you 28.4 if you round it. Circle that. That would be your answer for number 3. Hezekiah, yes, that's fine. Okay, so for number 3, you are using the 2 pi r formula for circumference, then multiplying your numbers in parentheses, and then multiplying that by 2, and you get 28.4, and they measured in centimeters, so you could add centimeters to the back of that if you want to. All right, about 30 seconds, and we're going to move on to number 4. All right, let's take a look at number 4. Number 4 says, what is the measure of angle X? Now, the first thing I notice when I look at this is X is over here, and this is a straight line, right? What do we know about straight lines? How many degrees is a straight line? Y'all tell me in the chat. Not 90. Yes, Skylar, 180. So that means that all 3 of these angles that are on that straight line are going to equal 180. Well, guess what? What do we already know about this angle right here? What does that box tell us? Very good, Zach, Skylar, Ella. That tells us that the angle, the measure of this angle is 90 degrees. So I'm going to write that in. Okay. Now, who remembers, how do we know what this angle is based off of a different angle that they gave us? Do y'all remember what angles are called when they're directly across from each other? Those are called vertical angles. And vertical angles are always equal to each other. So if this one is 38, that means this angle also has to be 38. So we can fill that in. And y'all, just like that, we have 2 of the 3 angles. And now we just need to know what X equals. So we can add up these angles and make them equal 180 degrees in order to figure out what x is. So on your paper, you're going to write 90 plus 38, because those are the two that they gave us, plus x, which is what we're solving for, equals 180, right? Because they're all on a straight line, so that means they have to equal 180. So somebody tell me, what is 90 plus 38? 90 plus 38 is what? Who's got a calculator out? Good, Hezekiah. 128. And then we bring the rest of this down. Plus x equals 180. Now, what do y'all think we're going to do with this 128 to move it over here? Because we got to get x by itself. It's right now it's being added. What's the opposite of addition? Good, Skylar. We're going to subtract it from 180. So that gives us x equals, somebody tell me, what is 180 minus 128? Good, Josiah. 52. So circle that. The measure of angle x would be 52 degrees. That one was too easy, Josiah. Next one's pretty easy too. All right, y'all give me a green check when you're finished. We've got about, let's see, 10 more seconds on number 4, and we'll move to number 5. All right, most of us are finished, so let's go ahead and move on. Here's number 5. This is, what is the perimeter of this figure? So we're finding perimeter here. Remember, perimeter means the distance around the outside of a shape. So based off that information, what do we already know about rectangles that can tell us what this side equals? What does this little side equal? Based on the information they already gave us. Yes, it's the same as its opposite side. So this would also equal 5. So really all that we have to find is from here to here, right? The distance around this half circle. So to do that, we have to find the circumference of that circle, of the whole circle, and then divide it by 2. So the circumference of a circle is diameter times pi, or 2 pi r. But they gave us the diameter, right? All the way across, because this 7 would also be this 7. So 7 is our diameter. So this would equal 7 times pi. Somebody type that in your calculator. What is 7 times 3.14? Good, Serenity. 21.98. And then what do y'all think we need to do with that number, since it's only half of a circle? This would be for the whole circle. What should we do? Good. You can either divide it by 2 or multiply it by 0.5. I'm just going to divide it by 2 for easiness. And y'all tell me, what does that equal? 21.98 divided by 2. Good, Skylar. 10.99. Okay. That gives us our missing distance around the half circle up here. So 10.99. Now that we have all of our sides, What can we do with all 4 of these pieces to find the perimeter? What do y'all think? Tell me in the chat box. Good. We're going to add them up. So on your paper, you're going to write 10.99 plus 7 plus 5 plus 5. Or you could just put plus 10. Somebody add all those up and tell me what you get. Who's got a calculator? Good, Serenity. You're going to get 27.99. And that would be your final answer. So circle that number. Centimeters, if you want to add that. 27.99 centimeters. So when you're asked to find perimeter, remember all that means is the distance around the outside of a shape. All right, I'll give you about 30 seconds to get that, and we will move on to number 6. When are we going to be able to take this test? So Josiah, the study guide, which is what we're doing right now, is a quiz for tomorrow. And then, and then the actual test is on Wednesday. And then your TGA is on Thursday. And Wednesday at our math assessment help is when we're going to go over the TGA. So if you haven't done it yet, make sure you come to that class on Wednesday. All right, let's move on to number 6. This is what number 6 is going to look like. It says a circle has a diameter of 6 inches. So let's draw that on our paper. Just roughly draw a circle. And remember, diameter is all the way across, and that is 6. Okay, what is the best approximation of its area? So I'm going to box that in. We're finding area. Corey, you're going to have to watch the recording. And Tanasia, because we're already halfway done. Use 3.14 to approximate 4 pi. So for number 6, you're using the area formula. So write A, which is area, equals pi r squared. And if our diameter is 6, what does that make our radius? Remember, the radius is half of the diameter. Yep. Good, Serenity. That makes our radius 3. So this would be, pi, and then our radius is 3 squared. What is 3 squared? 3 times 3 is what? 9. So pi times 9 gives you what? What is 3.14 times 9? .14 times 9. Good, Skylar. 28.26 is your final answer. Very good. Y'all doing great. We've got 4 more. See if we can squeeze them in. Let's see how much time we have left until 11:30. Yeah, we should be able to get them in there. All right, 30 seconds, and we're going to move on to question number 7. Those of you that logged in late, this recording will be posted. And these are the answers for your bonus quiz. So you want to make sure that you watch the recording. All right. Number 7, go ahead and write number 7 on your paper. Number 7 says the bottom of a circular tent has a radius of 7 meters. What is the area? So we're doing area again of the bottom of the circular tent. So we're just looking at the circle on the bottom. So draw a circle on your paper. And it says the radius, so put a point in the middle, go to the side, is 7. Okay, that's what we have so far. When we're finding area, the area of a circle, remember, is pi r squared. So area equals pi r squared. And if we plug our numbers in, that would be pi times 7 squared. What is 7 squared? Y'all tell me in the chat box. What is 7 squared, or 7 times 7? Good, Skylar. Skylar knows her multiplication facts. So pi times 49. So somebody do 3.14 times 49 and tell me what you get. Pi times 49. Very good. 153.86. 153.86. And circle that. That would be your final answer. And y'all, if I were you, before you take your test, I would print out your reference sheet with all your formulas on it. And that's in your announcements of your math class. All right, about 30 seconds, and we're going to move on to number 8. So the final answer for 7 was 153.86 meters, if you're getting specific. All right, number 8. Here is number 8. This little piece of a circle. It says this quarter circle has a radius of 5 centimeters. What is the area? So we're finding area of this figure. Use 3.14 for pi. So remember, you still are using your circle formula, but since this is only a fourth of a circle, we're going to multiply it by a fourth, or 0.25. Okay, so the area formula for a circle is pi r squared So when we plug our numbers in, that would be 5 squared. What is 5 squared? Somebody tell me what is 5 squared? 5 times 5. 25. Good. And then what is 25 times 3.14? 78.5. Good. Skylar is on a roll. Skylar, I'm going to have to give you some dojo points. Now, this would be the area of the whole circle, right? 78.5. But since it's only a fourth of a circle, what do we need to multiply 78.5 by? Close, Zach, not 4, 1/4, right? Or not 0.5, that would be half, 0.25, okay? So we're going to multiply 78 by 1/4, or you can think of it as 0.25. So y'all multiply 78.5, and I'll do a decimal just because it's easier to multiply. 0.25, that's the same as a fourth. And tell me what you get. Very good, Skylar. You should get 19.625. Circle that. That would be your final answer for the area. About 30 seconds, and we're going to go to number 9. We've got 2 more questions. All right, let's go to number 9. Number 9 says, what is the volume? So let's underline that. What is the volume of the right triangular prism in cubic meters? So volume equals, write this on your paper, base, so capital B, times height. Remember, when you're solving for volume, you have to solve for the area of the base first, okay? Our base is this triangle right here. So we need to find the area of this triangle. So our base is equal to the area of the triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. So if we plug our numbers in, we would have 1/2. The base is 3 times the height, which is 2. Okay, what is 3 times 2? Good, Serenity. Skylar, it is 6. Then we bring that half down. What is half of 6? Very good, 3. So our base, the capital B, is equal to 3. We're not done. We've just solved for the base. Okay, so now if we plug that in, our volume equals 3, because our base we just found is 3. What is our height of the shape? So the height is going to be from here to the top. What does that tell us that's equal to? 10. Very good. Okay, what is 10 times 3? Very good. And when you're solving for volume, remember that would be meters cubed with little 3. And that's your final answer for number 9. We got one more. And I'm all out of coffee. About 30 more seconds. And we'll move on to the last one, number 10. All right, let's take a look at number 10. This is our last problem here. It says, what is the surface area? So that's what we're solving for here. Surface area of this right rectangular prism. Okay. Surface area for a rectangular prism. I'm going to write area. Here's the formula. And remember, y'all don't have to memorize these. They're on your reference sheet. Is 2 times, in parentheses, length times width plus length times height plus height times width. And we'll break those down in just a second. So y'all write down that formula for me. All right, so this is our length. Right there. This is our width. And this is our height. So now that we know that, we can start solving. Let's do length times width first. So LW is equal to 1 1/3 times 2 1/2. And instead of trying to multiply those mixed numbers, let's make them improper fractions. So 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. That would be 4/3 times 4 plus 1 is 5. 5/2. Now we can multiply a little bit easier, right? 4 times 5 across the top is 20. 3 times 2 on the bottom is 6. And that can be simplified a little bit more, right? To 10/3. Okay, so that is our length times width. So we'll just hang on to that for a second. Then the next, so we've got that one done. The next one is length times height. So let's do that one right here. Length times height. Our length is 1 1/3. Our height is 5. So again, let's make that an improper fraction, which we know now is 4/3 times 5. And we can put that over 1 to make it easier to multiply. So 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 1 is 3. So 20/3. And I don't think 20 can be divided by 3 evenly, so we're going to leave that as 20/3. And that is our length times height. And our last one to find is height times width. So height times width. Our height is 5. Our width is 2 1/2. So if we change that to an improper fraction, we've got 5/1 times 5 seconds. And across the top, 5 times 5 is 25. 1 times 2 is 2. And that also does not simplify, so we can stop there. Okay, so now we can go back and plug these numbers into our formula. Okay, so let's rewrite that. 2 times length times width, which we found was 10 over 3, plus length times height, which we found was 20 over 3, plus height times width, which was 25 over 2. All right, now let's see if any of these have common denominators so that we can add them. These two both have a common denominator of 3, so we can add those easily. Okay, so add the tops. 10 plus 20 is 30 over 3. And let's bring down our other fraction, which was 25 over 2. And the first common denominator or factor between 3 and 2 is, let's see, 3, 6, 2, 4, 6. So it would be 6. So we need to get this fraction with a denominator of 6 and this one with a denominator of 6. Now we had to multiply 2. Yeah, the last one is the longest one. 2 times 3 equals 6. So that means we need to multiply the top number by 3. So somebody tell me, what is 25 times 3? 75, good. So we got 75 over 5, which can be simplified. Oh no, that's over 6. Never mind. I can't read. We can divide both of those by 3. And 75 divided by 3 is 25. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so let's keep that one. Now, 3 we had to multiply by 2 to get 6. So that means we need to multiply 30 by 2. What is 30 times 2? Good, Serenity, it is 60. Can we simplify 60 over 6? Yes, we can divide them not by 10, by 6. That would give us 10 over 1, or if you just divided Skylar, it would just be 10, like you said. All right, so our problem was 2, and we had to add those together. So 10 over 1, or 10, let's do it as 10. 10 plus 25 over 2, which we need to make to a mixed fraction, right? So 25 divided by 2, I'm going to just do it up here real quick. How many times can 2 go into 25 without going over? Good, 12 times. And that would give you 24. When you subtract, you get 1 left over. So our mixed fraction, our mixed number would be 12 and 1 over 2, 12 and a half. Okay. Look at all that work. We're almost done. So let's do 2 on the outside. 10 plus 12 is what? $22. And 1.5. So somebody tell me, what is 2 times 22.5? That would give you 45. I'm going to write it down here. That is your final answer. Or if you want to get fancy, it would be 45 feet squared. So 45 is your final answer for number 10.